The Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for December 4th, 2018. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kimmer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney? Gabrenia?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Ranky?
Present.
President Wallace.
Here. First item on our agenda is under Police and Health Committee. Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. The one item we have is a Frontline Police Safety Solutions, a software database offered through DUCOM. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor Wallace and Board. I was asked to talk about Frontline Public Safety Solutions. It's an online software the police department uses to track directed patrols, overnight parking, vacation watch, and another area called condition reports. Part of the website is only accessible to the police department, and part of it is accessible to the public. I'm going to start with walking you through the area that's accessible to the public. It's accessible through the village's website, so if someone, resident, goes to the village website, goes to the how-to, goes down to vacation watch and overnight parking, it lists the Frontline Public Safety Solutions website link there. If they click on that, their website comes up, and they have two options. They can enter a request for overnight parking, and they can enter a request for vacation watch. If they click on overnight parking, another page comes up, and it's pretty simple. They enter a plate number, a reason why, say special circumstances, overnight guests, driveway seal coating, their make, their model, the vehicle color, the state, and then the street name, the start date and the end date, and their name, and then they just hit submit, and it gets submitted directly to the police department, and as long as they're within the parameters of the ordinance, their request gets accepted, it gets sent directly to the police department, and the officers can access it in their vehicle in real time. So if they're out there at 2:36 in the morning, and they're driving down, say, Main Street, and they see a car, and that person's entering their car at 2:36 in the morning, that car will show up on the list as soon as they hit the submit button. So it's real time for the citizen and the police officer. The other area in there is the vacation watch, and it's pretty similar to the overnight parking request. They have to enter a little bit more information, an email address, their name, the street address, the state, their home phone, a cell phone, the start date that they're going on vacation, and the end date when they're returning from vacation, whether or not they have an alarm system, do they have a pet in the house, do they have someone watching their house, or a person visiting, and we ask them to put an emergency contact, someone local. That way, if we do find a problem at the house and say they are in Florida, we can call someone local to maybe come over, secure a door, turn off the water, so on and so forth. And then any additional comments they want to enter in there. And again, there are some parameters. We only allow so many days per year and so many days at a time for vacation watch. And then there's the back end that the police department can see. That's got a secure login for each user, so I've got to log in here. And you'll notice up top there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. DUCOM gives us the option of picking 4 out of the 6. They already have a database for at-risk residents. They have a database for key holders. So we chose the overnight parking, the vacation watch, the directed patrol, and the condition report. On our end, when an officer clicks on overnight parking, all the things you see up there in green, those are currently active requests for overnight parking. So the officer in the car is going out and they're going to write overnight parking tickets. They can see this list here. They can sort this list by clicking on any one of those buttons up there. They can sort by street name, start date, end date, plate number. So if they're driving through their area and they're looking for a specific plate that starts with Z, they just sort that way and they find the Z plate. If they want more information about that particular vehicle, they can click on the view icon, and it just brings up a little bit more information in a simpler format. Vacation watch, like I said, I showed you how a citizen may enter in that. I'm not going to pull that up because that's going to show everybody, our citizens that are out of town, and I don't think we want to do that in a public forum. But when an officer clicks on the vacation watch, a specific vacation watch, just like the overnight parking, they'll click on the eyeglass icon. Specific information will come up about the residence, and then they can check a box saying that the house was checked on a particular date at a particular time, and they can note any problems they found or that they found no problems. And the resident has the option of receiving an email or a text message immediately upon the officer submitting that saying that their house was checked. So if I have an officer out there right now, they get an email at 7:31 p.m. saying that their house was checked. So, Mr. Danny, if you're in Florida, you could get an email saying that your house was checked and you know that at 7:31 your house was okay. One of the big things we've used this for is for our directed patrols. I'm going to click on that icon. I can add, and the sergeants and the officers can add any directed patrol they want for any various reasons. And you can see there's approximately 10 or 12 in there right now. Most of the directed patrols we put in there are traffic complaints for speeding autos or for parked cars. Every now and then we'll get for suspicious persons seen in an area. One of our more high priority complaints is North Avenue. So if I go in here and I look for North Avenue, north between Oak and Western, and north at Western, we've heard that complaint at the board meeting several times. So if you go up here, it says warnings is on the left, tickets on the right. At North and Western, since this has been in here, August 9th through 12/31 of this year, they've written 136 warning tickets at that intersection, and they've written 36 tickets at that intersection. I'm sorry, 63 tickets at that intersection. I can click on the eyeglass again. It gives me some more specific information about that. And then it also goes through the time and the date that an officer was out there and the action they took and any notes they had. This is all, I can also pull all this up in a Excel spreadsheet or a PDF format, and I can look at it as a supervisor. Another complaint we have is an overnight parking on Concord. So I'm going to look for that here. So I type in Concord, and it's overnight parking at 1016 Concord. I can pull that up, and it shows me vehicles are parking in front of this address overnight without permission. It tells me how many times we've been out there. And again, this format is kind of not user friendly. I can pull this up in an Excel spreadsheet. I can also pull it up in a PDF format. But since we started doing this, there's been 0 warning tickets out there, and we've ticketed a car there 17 times. This DUCOM, we get this free through DUCOM as part of our service contract. The reason they started this is because they handle overnight parking for some towns, and they were just getting inundated with requests for overnight parking. We handle our own overnight parking in-house. Since this has started, we started approximately November 1st of 2017. So I ran a report through November 1st of 2018. We've had 9,454 requests in that year, nights, not particular requests, but nights for overnight parking permission. As of today, the percentage keeps increasing, but 33% of those have come through online. So approximately 3,200 of them people have requested online, which then frees up the phone ringing here. We've had 3,066 house checks, 5,116 directed patrols in that year. And then the last section of the Frontline is a condition report. The officers used to write down conditions, bring them in, and then we'd forward them to the appropriate authorities. Now they can do it right there in the car online. The things we have in here are hanging branches, overgrown vegetation, potholes, sign issue, or a street light out. So if an officer finds one of those on the street, he does the date, the type, the location, and he can do a brief description, or she. They submit it. It comes to one of us in-house, and then we take that and we direct it. Most of those go down to Dan and his staff, and they take care of it. That's pretty much the Frontline system. I'll entertain any questions.
You have 3.
Sir.
This is, the first year was kind of a test year to see who was going to participate in it, just to let you go into the database and play around with it. And it's officially being offered to us now at no charge.
Correct. Initially, we were looking at a couple different products. This was one of the products we were looking at. When we found out DUCOM was going to offer it as part of their annual membership fee, we kind of jumped on it because we liked that product and we were going to recommend it initially.
Okay. So we don't know year 2, year 3 if there's going to be any fees for this, or if they're going to increase it or what have you. We don't know that yet.
No, we don't know that, and I don't expect it. But.
If I go in there right now and I ask for overnight parking, does it give me an email that says, you know, we received your request, or it was denied, or anything like that?
If it's denied, you will receive a denied warning or flash, and then you'll have to call the non-emergency number.
Okay.
You receive a confirmation email, too.
You've tried it?
I was directed by one of the operators to do it. Just a bit of advice, if you have an overnight parker, don't wait until, like, you're in your jammies, then they don't know their license plate number, so you've got to go out and brush the snow off the back of their car, freezing, and get their license plate number with a flashlight, and then go back in and put it online. But I can do it, so anybody can do it online.
Sir, I trained everybody on the system, and I did the same thing.
Yeah. It sounds like a very interesting system. When the officer goes out to check on the vacation checks at 7:21, I've checked the building, it's okay. You do send a notice to Ray while he's on vacation. Is there any other information you can put in there, like at 7:22, somebody stole your golf clubs and took all your vodka or anything like that? Does he get any notification?
If the officer finds something wrong at the house, yes, they can note it, and hopefully my officers will contact the homeowner or their
We're going to
emergency.
be home. Thank you. Sounds like an excellent system.
Very informative. I know that parking is probably one of the top 5 complaints I get from people. So it's, I'm glad that we're looking at the data. And
I would just say that looking at the data is a really key thing, because this helps us quantify, you know, do we need to be massaging times? Do we need to be looking at changes that we need to make? This helps us really identify if there's some tweaks that we need to make, either in how we're assigning people or how our ordinances are written. And it's really been a really good tool from just a management standpoint as well.
I think it helps us too, because when a resident makes a complaint and we put it in there, there's a whole record of everything we've done to try and address that complaint. Sometimes officers may not find violations, but as you've seen, other times they do. And, you know, if someone's not looking out the window right at the time when an officer's there, they're going to think, well, maybe the police aren't doing anything about it. So what's nice is, as we're addressing these complaints, we can reach out to the resident and say, these are the dates and times we've been out there, these are the enforcement measures we've taken. And even like at North and Western, you saw how many warnings and citations we wrote. that still wasn't making a difference. So then we looked at some other options, like putting up the flashing stop signs, and I think a lot of that has helped. So it's helped us. It helps my staff know where the problems are, where they need to be spending their time, and it helps us as a department respond to the community and let them know the actions that we've taken to try and address their complaints. So it's been a big help to us.
So if a resident uses the Go Request app to file a complaint about parking, how does that flow into this system?
We would take the information from that Go Request complaint, and then we would enter it ourselves into the Frontline system.
Okay, thank you.
I just found the confirmation, trustee Carbonaro. It says, big orange letters, overnight parking request. Dear resident, thank you. Your request for overnight parking has been received. We have added your request to our records. It's a really nice little email that shoots back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Here's an example of a PDF. It looks a little bit better than what I was showing you before. This is the North and Western. Over on the left, you'll see it gives every date, the time the officer started out there, ended out there, if they wrote a ticket or a warning, and then what they observed while they were out there and which officer was out there. And again, as a supervisor, I can go out there and I can choose from this report my officers, so I can see which officers were out there and what they did, and that they're actually out there doing what I asked of them, and I have some proof of it.
I would encourage all of you to park your car on the street and try it.
And go on vacation. Other questions? We'll
I would just, before we end the police conversation, I would just commend our police department. During the power outage, they made it a point to go out. There was about 110 houses that were still around 40 hours out of power. And I think one lady said that her house was down to 38 degrees and her cat was there or something, so she was concerned with that. She wasn't home yet. The police department went and I think did well checks on all of those homes. So I'm really proud of that. I got some comments back from that. That's a really great job. So, yeah.
Also, thank you, Chair. Also, next week, we'll be meeting with DuPage mayor and managers and ComEd to go over their storm response, the municipal portal, how that worked for us, and the other communities in Northwest Municipal Conference. And so it's really going to be a good opportunity to kind of talk about some of the issues that we had with the information internally with ComEd on their site. They had some conflicts on what they were directing our police department to look at and what they were directing municipal staff to look at. So they had some communication problems. So we're going to take that opportunity to bring that up to ComEd. And
Oh, I brought it up to him.
well, we get the guys who actually design the system, so
Good cop, bad
we're
cop
hoping
again.
to get the guys that can.
All right, good.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Nothing else on our agenda this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Kammer, seconded by trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kammer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Cabrera?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
We are adjourned.